Now you can tell me that maybe there's something a little bit off about me because I don't feel that there is a deficit in my life because I have no really close friends. I mentioned in a video yesterday that if I were to take a sheet of paper and I were to list all my really close friends, not talking about family members, but people with whom I am not related, that I consider my good buddies, people that I hang out with, I'd have a blank sheet of paper. Why is that? And why is it that I don't feel bad about it? Now we're talking about Asperger syndrome and autism, and it's fairly common, but not just with autism. In our society, it's becoming more and more common for people to be loners, and some people it really hurts them. They like to be social, and they don't like to be alone. It leads them into deep, dark depression, but me, not so much. And I think maybe some other people with autism, with Asperger syndrome, high functioning autism, maybe are experiencing the same thing. So I thought, well, let's dig a little bit deeper in this. Let's drill down in this. And let's ask the question, why is it that I have no friends, close friends? Why is it that you maybe don't have really close friends? Maybe you do, one or two or a few, but maybe not. And I wonder why is that, and I want to expand it, as I said earlier, why don't we feel bad about it? Why doesn't it hurt us? Now, I got to say that there are a lot of people in my life with whom I am friendly. We're on friendly terms. People that I've met on Facebook, for example, sometimes we'll meet up, go out to eat, have dinner together. But that's not a really close friend. There are other people, you see them out and about, say hi to them, stop and talk, small talk. Something that I'm not really good at, makes me a little bit nervous, scrambles my brain. I really don't like to do it. But out of courtesy, I'll stop and talk to people if they want to. So there are a lot of people with whom I am friendly and on friendly terms. But those good buddies, no, I don't have any. And guess what? I don't care. For some reason, it doesn't bother me. And that didn't even occur to me till yesterday after I made the video that, I don't have these close friends. But what occurred to me then is, why doesn't that bother me? Because when I was a kid, okay, let's say high school, junior high, maybe even before that. Yeah, before that. Not having close friends was a real problem. I did have a really close friend when I was in elementary school. Hung out together all the time, almost inseparable. Good thing. For me, got into junior high, had another good friend. He was a couple of years older, and I mentioned this yesterday, but we just hang out all the time. I mean, he'd come over and we'd just walk around the neighborhood. I mean, we would walk everywhere and we just talk, just enjoyed each other's company. And we do other things, but that's beside the point. But not having that kind of friend when you are a teenager, when you have that tremendous peer pressure, that can be really, really problematic, particularly if you're in a social environment, and most every kid is, where they are rejected, where they are not included, and sometimes when they're bullied or teased or made fun of. Yeah, that's a serious problem. But now here I am pushing 70 years old, and I like to say that I've learned a thing or two over nearly 70 years, nearly 7 decades. And the reason I make these videos is I just like to share it with people, things I've learned, particularly about autism, about Asperger syndrome. And what I've learned is I don't have any close friends, and I just don't care. But again, repeating myself for the third time that, there are people with whom I'm friendly. So it's not like I'm a hermit living in absolute isolation. I think I would probably be okay with that as long as I had something to eat, had medical care, somebody fly in a helicopter or drone or something to make sure that I was okay. I'd be perfectly happy to live out in the wilderness somewhere, as long as I had those basic needs taken care of. Had a fly swatter, But no, I'm okay being alone. Let's take a look at 4 things. Number 1, this relates to autism specifically, but if you're not autistic, you could probably relate to this as well, is we have a difficult time as people with Asperger syndrome just simply relating to people. And they have trouble relating to us. Now, this probably, again, as we said earlier, is more in that age bracket where peer pressure is really important. But people don't like to hang out with those individuals who are a social deficit or who are considered socially toxic. And if you have Asperger syndrome, you come across to people as a space alien, and they come across to you sometimes as space aliens, like we live in a world with space aliens. We live in a foreign world. We talked about that yesterday, and they don't like to hang out with us because they think we're kind of weird. Why would we want to hang out with them if we think they're kind of weird? Well, when you're a kid, that you don't like to be considered strange by everyone else. You want to be included, but that hangs on for all of your life. And that, by the way, is one of the reasons that we find it so difficult to find employment and keep it. Because once we have the job, people think we're kind of strange. They don't like to hang out with us. And what I have discovered when I have had those traditional 9-to-5 jobs, that usually there's one person that for whatever reason picks up on that oddness, and he or she just doesn't like me, And it's not just a workplace. It's about any place where there are people. It could be school or whatever. But that person wants to convince other people, and I don't know why, other people that they should not like me too. Have you experienced that? The next thing you know, you got this whole group of people, and the cool thing is to not like you. And it's not long before they are talking to the supervisor, and they're saying all kinds of things about you, kind of smearing you, And you didn't do anything wrong. You're just being you. In fact, you could be excelling in your work, could be doing better than everyone else. And that may be one of the reasons they don't like you. It could be because you don't participate in their social activities, and that makes them feel awkward. They feel rejected sometimes. I'm just thinking of things off the top of my head. But the point is, we don't relate to them, and they don't relate to us. And I understand that because I've been around people with Asperger syndrome quite a bit. And I can see, yeah, they do seem kind of odd to me, and I'm guessing I seem a little odd to them as well. So I know where they're coming from. So, yeah, we just don't relate. You really can't have a good friend with whom you cannot relate. It's virtually impossible. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody and nobody said anything? It just gets quiet. People don't like that, Okay, we'll talk about that more in a moment. But then I mentioned, the smear campaign. This is number 2. And this is, as I said, this is one of the reasons why employment is so difficult. But if you have ever had a narcissist in your life or a psychopath, and chances are if you are autistic, you have had somebody in your life or several people in your life who are narcissistic. People who just are psychopaths, who are self-centered, who are controlling. And because you are autistic, you make an easy target. You're the low-hanging fruit. You're the gazelle. You're the one they can jump all over and make themselves feel wonderful about themselves, because narcissism is all about inflating their ego. And you, somebody who's not going to fight back, who has ideals and character, you're the ideal candidate for them to take advantage of. And one of the things a narcissist or a psychopath will do is, once you figure out what's going on, you get away from this person, they will inevitably, this happens all the time. You'd be shocked, or at least I was shocked. But they will launch a smear campaign against you. Have you ever had anyone do that? Just flat out lie about you, or embellish the truth maybe, but convince other people behind your back that you are a bad guy, and that the narcissist, or whoever it is, was hurt by you. So they are the victim. What's more, they were the hero. And they're the ones who are, rescuing themselves from your badness, or however you want to say it. So they start the smear campaign, and before you know it, there are people that are your friends, and all of a sudden they don't talk to you anymore. If they see you, they look at you, and they give you that look. And I know people with Asperger syndrome, they don't always pick up on that body language, but sometimes it's so intense, it's kind of obvious, or maybe they make it so obvious we just can't ignore it. That is the result of a smear campaign. And it's hard to have friends when they're believing liars. And people, they are believers. They walk by faith, not by sight. So it's whatever they hear, faith comes by hearing. So they listen to gossip, and all of us do it. They listen to gossip, they listen to the smear campaign, and they believe what this psychopath or this narcissist is saying about you. So they're out of your life. That's one of the reasons we don't have, or it's hard for us to have close friends, because they're believing the lies. I'm trying to think of some exceptions to that, but I can't think of any. I think probably everybody, not just people with autism, but everyone has experienced that some point in time in their life. I remember I had a good friend, I thought, who was a physician, and I had heart surgery. I don't know why my heart stopped when I was out taking a hike, and I had heart surgery, and after the surgery, he was part of a procedure to calibrate my heart. There's actually a medical term for that. They don't call it calibration, but effectively that's what it is. And man, that worked. It made me feel good. But he told me, you're not going to charge me for it. Cool. He said, friends don't charge friends. Cool. But that was about the time the smear campaign was starting. Some narcissist had been in my life, and I finally got rid of him. And he retaliated by trying to make all my friends mad at me. And other people, the great smear campaign. But so my dear friend, the physician, who wasn't going to charge me for the procedure, sent me a bill. So I thought, it's a mistake. He said he wasn't going to charge me for it because, he doesn't charge friends. Friends don't charge friends. So I sent him an email. I just asked him, you want me to pay this? And he responded. He submitted me to a collection agency. I guess that was his response. Yeah, I expect you to pay it. So, and after that, the guy wouldn't talk to me, wanted nothing to do with me. So my guess is, I don't know why, but my guess is, and this coincided with the smear campaign, so my guess is he had picked up on some of this gossip and some of this, flat out embellishments or lies. And typically what a narcissist will do when he goes to people and lies about you, he will make the person to whom the narcissist is speaking convinced that you said something about him that will make him or her mad at you. Yeah, I don't know how they do this, but they're really good at it. So my best guess is that's what happened. I don't know. It could be something totally different, but that's what I think. But the point is, we've all endured smear campaigns, and hopefully you've never been a part of one. But we've all been victims of them. So it's kind of difficult to have close friends when people think you're a bad guy. Here's another reason. There's something about people with autism, if you are considered high functional or Asperger syndrome, part of the definition is you have at least average intelligence or higher. Now, the thing we find about people who have high intelligence is they're really not social critters. Some of them are because particularly if they're in business, because they need to be. It's not something they necessarily enjoy, but it's a part of it's like a work requirement. You got to hang out with people. So they socialize. I've never tasted alcohol in my life, but these people, they'll go out and they'll hang out in a bar or whatever they call those places they go to, a nightclub maybe. And do they still have nightclubs? I don't even know if they have them anymore. But they'll go out and socialize, and act stupid. Well, maybe not act stupid, but they will do things together, and no, I don't care to do that. To me, that is so superficial. Smart people do it not because necessarily they want to, but because they have to, and if they don't have to, chances are they don't want to. People who are highly intelligent, people like Tesla, they become like a recluse because, it's so superficial. Hanging out with people, talking, gossip and climbing social ladders and all of that nonsense. What's that got to do with anything? 100 years from now, we're all going to be dead anyhow, right? Okay, maybe a newborn baby still be around, but we're all going to be gone, so let's do something constructive with our lives. Socializing is not particularly constructive. with the exception that we mentioned earlier that it may be a necessity if you're in business. So one of the reasons I don't have friends, close friends, is because it just seems so superficial. You know, why do I need this close friend? Now, I don't mind going out and hanging out with people. I don't mind going out and having lunch. A lot of people I do that with, and, you know, that's just part of being courteous and just being human. But I'd rather do other things most of the time. But sometimes, yeah, I want to get away. I want to do something different. So we'll hang out with somebody, but not very often because, well, that's number 4 is I just don't want to. You know, I just don't find it enjoyable with a few exceptions. You know, now and again, rarely, maybe once every 3 or 4 months, get together with somebody and then, yeah, then it's fun. But people do this. It's like every weekend they're hanging out with somebody or they're going to this club or this bar or this organization. Maybe they go to church, you know, maybe that's their social club. And by the way, a lot of people use their church as a social club. That's got nothing to do with anything, but that's why they go. Not all of them, but some of them. To me, I just don't want to do all that. You know, I'm okay with people who do. If they think it's fun, if they think it's enjoyable, if it kicks in the dopamine, yeah, have all the friends you want. Be socially acceptable and spend your whole life trying to climb a social ladder, and then you die. I'd rather do something more constructive with my life, like stare at the wall. But those are some of the reasons why I have no close friends. I say I have no friends, I have no close friends. And I have in the past, particularly when I was a kid. I'm very grateful for them. But once, you know, college years kicked in, it just seems like it really didn't matter anymore. It bothered me still when I was in my early 20s. But once I got around 25, you know, when they say that your brain totally matures, then it wasn't such a big deal anymore to not have friends. And so number 4, reiterating, I just don't want to. 2 rectangles on the screen. Let's keep hanging out, talking about hanging out. Click one of those 2 rectangles and the conversation goes on. But if not, thanks for stopping by, and we will see y'all next time.